Hey there, fellow wanderers. You're about to embark on a journey into the rugged life of a Viking warrior queen, where each moment challenges your senses. Focus on the brisk wind that cuts through the Scandinavian skies, how it bites at your skin in a crisp embrace, each gust carrying the salty tang of the frothing sea. The scents of raw fish and earthy leather mingle in the air, wrapping around you like a second skin, pulling you into a world far removed from the comforts of modern life. Your fingers trace the grain of your shield wet with morning dew, rough underhand, still cool to the touch. As your gaze lifts toward the horizon, clouds roll like an ocean of stone overhead, and the land breathes a harsh beauty all its own. This is no fairy tale, no dragons, no damsels, just wind, wood, and the weight of legacy. So, before we dive deeper, I ask only this. If this kind of raw, unvarnished truth speaks to you, click like, hit subscribe, and leave a trace of yourself in the comments. Tell me your city, your time, your state of mind. Now, dim the lights. Let the hum of your fan blend with the wind of centuries past. Let's begin. And remember, in medieval times, even survival was a luxury. For a moment, you pause, letting the moment settle. The vastness is daunting, but there's an allure to this stark existence that calls to something deep within, a longing for adventure meshed with the solemn truth of nature's indifference. You're not in Kansas anymore, Dorothy. So before we dive deeper, I ask only this. If this kind of raw, unvarnished truth speaks to you, click like, hit subscribe, and leave a trace of yourself in the comments. Tell me your city, your time, your state of mind. Connect with others as drawn to the Viking era's magnetism as you are. Now, dim the lights. Let the hum of your fan blend with the wind of centuries past. Close your eyes if you wish, relaxing into the narrative, allowing it to carry you away on the currents of time. Let's begin. And remember, in medieval times, even survival was a luxury. The world of the Vikings beckons, and you're about to step into the shoes or perhaps the weathered boots off a Viking warrior queen. As the sun peeks hesitantly over the horizon, you know it's not the dawn of just another day. This life demands more of you. You trudge towards the waiting longship, the wood creaking impatiently against the docks. You can't help but notice how your heart sinks with the rhythmic waves, a gentle reminder that life as a Viking is deeply tied to the sea, as unyielding as Odin himself. You can almost feel the eyes of those around you, fellow warriors, all whispering tales of ocean gods and sea monsters, eager to claim another soul. The chill permeates your bones, not unlike the kind of chill you'd experience in the depths of an untouched basement in a centuries-old castle, the air dense with salt and stories long forgotten. Each breath fills your lungs with its pungent embrace, a bracing starkness that sharpens your senses, waking every dormant inch of your being to the task ahead. The Viking world is relentless, and it grants no warmth or comfort. Only those who can thrive amid its challenges can dare call themselves successful. Those long winter nights, stories told by crackling fires, and the vibrant images of gods and goddesses come to life in smoky hues. You aren't simply living in this world. You're part of a tale that interweaves real-world challenges with mythological wonder. Here lies the paradox of Viking existence. In a land where summer can be as sparse as a pagan altar, in a Christianized village, where winters test the resolve of even the bravest heart, your survival depends as much on the whimsical generosity of the earth as on your strength and wit. With each step towards the longship, every sound is amplified the creak of leather armor, the metallic jingle of intricate jewelry worn out of status and spiritual symbolism, the occasional clatter punctuating the sea's rhythmic serenade. You can't help but smile slightly, amused by how this world seems so distant, yet sings an uncanny melody of familiarity. And as you prepare to step onto the ship, the planking beneath your feet whispers secrets of voyages past, of untamed waters waiting eagerly to test your mettle. And suddenly, being a Viking isn't merely a role, it's a symphony of sensations of sights, sounds, and stimuli, designed to remind you of the vivacity, the rawness of what it means to be alive. This very moment hums with the pull of history, grounding you to the reality that Viking life was as much about relentless determination as it was about finding fleeting beauty in the harshness. The Viking era calls you to explore all these things and more. But beware. It is not a story cushioned by comfort, but instead an epic woven from truths most profound, fused with the intoxicating thrill of lands unknown. More awaits on this journey, a journey where you shall discover why you wouldn't last a day as a formidable Viking warrior queen. Let's continue your journey as a Viking warrior queen, standing on the cusp of adventure. The longship looms large before you, its carved dragonhead prow reaching forward with ferocious intent, as if poised to slice through both sea and sky. You can almost hear the creak of the ropes, the murmurs of anticipation, and the quiet determination of your crew, each individual embodying the spirit of a true seafarer. The winds carry a biting chill, cutting through layers of fur and wool, reminding you constantly of their presence. The very smell of the sea is intoxicating, a mix of salt, seaweed, and a hint of ancient mysteries. As your boots press down against the damp wooden deck, reality sinks in. This vessel, both home and tool, is your passage across untold miles of unpredictable ocean. It's a reminder that mythic heroics often begin with the mundane struggles of hauling sheepish cargo and navigating treacherous waters. This isn't a fairy tale told under warm covers. It's raw life, and the ocean is both a threat and a promise. With each swaying movement of the ship, you are pulled deeper into the rites of a Viking warrior queen's voyage. The horizon stretches ahead, promising adventure but cloaked in secrecy, its mysteries hidden beneath the ever-churning waves. A mix of voices carries over the wind, an encouraging shout, a muttered prayer to Odin, the undeniable humor of someone recalling the last time a sea monster made its claim on their last barrel of salted fish. You recall that historians still argue whether such tales were embellishments or grounded in the strange discoveries reported by sea-weary Vikings. The distinction feels trivial at the moment. Each tall tale is a part of the fabric that holds the crew's morale together. With the call to embark rising above the din, you share a brief moment of determined regard with your helmsman, acknowledging the dangers ahead with unspoken understanding. Every day aboard evolves into a blend of hard work and harmony. Each crew member, from rower to navigator, essential to the success of the expedition. A dash of gentle sarcasm creeps into your thoughts, thinking about how today's complaints of traffic or waiting in line pale in comparison to the very real task of battling both man and nature just to claim food or land. Untethering from the dock sends a jolt through your muscles. The departure feels final, a commitment to whatever the journey brings. You're off, the land diminishing with every powerful stroke of the oars, a team moving with the practiced fluidity of those who have left and returned untold times. Your hands tingle around the leather grips, shared warmth against unyielding elements, channeling both strength and skill required to drive the vessel forward. Your stomach settles into a mix of sea spray and butterflies. Even seasoned warriors occasionally feel that twinge of apprehension against the unknown. Yet led on by a queen's innate resolve, you encourage those around you. A well-placed jest or a story of gods and giants lightens the load of labor. Even here, your leadership carves through, binding your crew in a sense of shared purpose. Somewhere between the land slipping into mist and the promise of the unseen horizon, the heartbeat of the ocean becomes a rhythm in its own right, lulling your senses. The sky extends overhead, a canopy of deep blues and greys that shifts in temper with the sun's journey across it. You can almost taste the texture of its hues, the stories it must have absorbed. A day graced by Tor, or Thor if you prefer, means good fortune. It's said his blessing calms the seas, so there's hope you'll avoid the wrath of Njord, the god of the sea and wind. As the Viking world reveals each challenge and glory throughout your journey, keep in mind that each stroke of the oar, each gust caught by the sail, is another passage penned in an epica living narrative of trial and triumph. In this world, every warrior is with both blade and boat, tethered to the traditions and the tides. So, as you sail ever onward, towards whatever lands await your claiming, one thing becomes clear. Life as a Viking warrior queen is not a leisurely pursuit, but an endlessly testing experience. It taxes the spirit and invigorates the soul in equal measure, a dream worthy of pursuit, even if you might not last a day. Journey forward, for the sea holds secrets, only for those brave enough to seek them, buried deep within its untamable depths. As the longship slices across the waves, You begin to adjust to the rhythm of life on board, with every muscle burning and every sense alert. The sea stretches endlessly around you, vast and indifferent, the horizon a line that seems both near and unattainable. But the sea is not your only companion. Hunger, a familiar shadow in this world, calls out to you with an insistent rumble. Ah, the Viking diet. Picture this. A feast that's nothing like the cornucopia you may envision, absent of today's indulgences. Instead, you're met with a pragmatic selection born out of necessity. Your meals are sparse yet functional, composed mostly of what can be dried or preserved. Picture yourself biting into a strip of dried fish, its saltiness overwhelming initially, but the flavor grows on ute, defines sustenance for those at sea. Pair it with a flatbread, rough and hearty, which does its best to stave off the piercing chill gnawing at your bones. You nearly laugh thinking how Epicureans of the future would frown upon the texture, organic, artisanal, gluten-free, if only they knew. There's porridge, too, thick and less than appetizing to eyes accustomed to vibrant garnishes. It sticks to your ribs, though, offering a humble warmth that's as much about comfort as it is about survival in these harsh elements. Dairy products, often fermented, make their appearance. Aren't you thankful for a strong stomach? Cheese, yogurt, and butyrich embodies the richness of Viking sustainability and serves a dual purpose for sustenance and trade. Occasionally, honey finds its way into your diet, a decadent rarity in a realm where sweets aren't coming from aisles but from the industrious labors of bees. Imagine the golden syrup during long, dark northern winter sit tastes almost like liquid sunshine. And speaking of sunshine, that cherished anachronism, the vitamin you notice you're longing for, missing from these seafaring ramblings and scarce daily fare. Meat is a delicacy, often salted or smoked. Wild game is a mark of status, but aboard the longship, any available meat is cherished, a nod to a shared victory on land. You ponder the efforts behind obtaining it. Each bite, however tough, an echo of a successful raid or hunt. Those tangy hints of preservation and smoky undertones mark each slice as a tale of resourcefulness, infinitely more complex than your average supermarket. As your hands grasp a hefty mug of ale, you take comfort in its bitter tasty, staple as reliable as the rising sun. Water, when not easily accessible, finds its substitute in fermented forms. Beer is no stranger here, nor is mead, the iconic honeyed wine of legend and song. This drink quenches more than just thirst. It serves as liquid courage, history's own truth serum, loosening lips and forging bonds across the swaying hull of this shared vessel. Your mind might wander, perhaps considering how vast a gap there is between the plethora of modern diets and these ancient realities. You remember those contentious historians debating blandness versus necessity. Was culinary innovation sacrificed on the pyre of Viking pragmatism? Or did ritual feasts and opportune gatherings provide tantalizing exceptions? It strikes you as curious how necessity has honed the Viking diet, a far cry from indulgence, but a subtle testament to resilience, an art crafted from agricultural wisdom and seafaring constraint. You wonder whether the simplicity of it all offered a hidden richness, a counterpart to indulgences of a different sort, survival, strength, and steadfast camaraderie through shared meals. In these moments of simple nourishment, there's a sense of connection reaching further than land or sea, a collective remembrance of ancestors. Each bite is a bridge across ages, from modern convenience to ancient struggle. As your day aboard continues, the ship creaks and groans a gentle lullaby of wood and wave. The tastes and textures settle into a rhythm, uneventful yet not unwelcome, leaving you to ponder not just flavors, but stories of sustenance born from the land and sea. Thus, under an expansive sky and upon a vast ocean, the essence of your Viking identity finds itself in these shared morsels, these humble dishes enriched by the sea's echoing promise. Survival. Remember, as you hold this in your thoughts, you can't help but think, the diet was but one facet of Viking life, and even with its simplicity, it mirrored the complexity inherent to their survival. In this carved niche of history, you're learning to value the sheer magnitude of what it means to be sustained, even when the platter offers shadows of the feast your imagination might prefer. But here, On this journey, simplicity itself is an indulgence woven into the Viking tapestry. The steady rhythm of the sea and the simple nourishment provided by your Viking fare set the tone for another day. Yet every heartbeat reminds you of the real trials ahead. Resilience and strength are not merely incidental in this world, they define your very existence. The training expected of a Viking warrior queen is as intense as the journey, with each day proving fiercer than the last. You find yourself on the training grounds, an expanse that echoes with the clamour of clashing weapons and the grunts of exertion. The metallic tang of iron fills the air, and the vibrations from thudding shields ripple through you, the chorus of war cries that underline the grueling reality of Viking preparation. The distinct smell of sweat mingled with damp earth, punctuated by the sharp scent of pine from nearby woods, awakens you to the task at hand. Here, survival isn't just a theory, it's a practiced art, and every axe swing and sword strike carves another chapter of your story. You grip your axe, its weight familiar, yet demanding you know it must become an extension of your will, poised to respond to both instinct and strategy. The grip, rough-hewn wood, balances with an assurance that comes only from endless repetition. A fellow warrior paces beside you, nodding with silent understanding. Together, you move through drills. Each calculated blow against the wooden target sends splinters spiraling to the ground. Swing, block, parry, thrust, these are your verses in the ballad of battle, and each movement is a testament to the hours, days, and years honed in this dance of death. It's while watching another warrior in your ranks, sweat gleaming under the midday sun, that a flash of insight hits you. Vikings didn't fight mindlessly. Historians are divided, with some saying these training routines were carefully constructed, while others argue they were more of an organic chaos. You can see both sides. Each step feels both maniacally disciplined and wildly free. The truth lies somewhere in the sturdy boots striking the earth before you. You summon your inner courage, unleashing it in a flurry of drills. The training isn't just physical, it's a constant mental juggle, of keeping balance while embracing agility, of pinpoint focus dressed in leather and iron. Though it may sound strange to a contemporary ear, even initiating the fight is an act of meditation, mind and body, aligning to harness the fury of the Norse gods. Every so often, you pause to observe the younger recruits, a reminder that Viking societies relied on strength at all ages. They mirror your movements, a perfect blend of earnest mimicry and the cocky bravado of those yet untested by true combat. Remembering your early days, you suppress a chuckle, considering how youthful ignorance and ambition often made strange and misguided bedfellows. Each sparring match is a renewal of resolve, dance between life and the unknown dangers that lurk just beyond the horizon. In an unexpected twist, you find humor here as well, comrades jesting mid-bout, or that comically mistranslated expression when a weapon thunks clumsily to the ground. Even with cold steel another heartbeat away, there's levity, a shared joy in pushing boundaries, in the power of camaraderie born of both practice and play. The labor is relentless, yet empowering, forging a blend of muscle and resolve suited to the rigors of Viking ventures. Pushed to your physical limits under the open sky, every bead of sweat builds character and invisible armor against the harsh world outside. As daylight fades and the echoes of practice cling to the evening air, you reflect on the day's session. Battered and bruised, yet curiously invincible, you contemplate all you've endured and how each session molds not just skill, but the spirit. Being a Viking warrior queen demands more than physical aptitude. It builds a community tied together by shared challenges and triumphs. Feeling the tug of fatigue and an undeniable pride coursing through your veins, you recognize the fine line between those who thrive and those who falter. It's a line sharpened by diligence and persistence, by the enduring pursuit of excellence in the shadow of uncertainty. And as you stand at the training field's edge, gazing out over the expanse that disappears into the fading light, you remember the mantra that sustains you through these trials. Even as the pounding of your heart matches the beat of an ancient drum, you are not just learning to endure the hardships of this world. You are mastering what it truly means to be alive within it. Time marches on, and with it, the seasons shift as they invariably do. Winter is coming. The stark Scandinavian landscape prepares to showcase its formidable chill. Your training complete for now, You must adapt to survive the harsh elements where biting winds and snowdrifts quickly become formidable adversaries. Imagine the air turning solid with the crispness of impending frost, whispering promises of impending snowdrifts that will transform the familiar world beyond recognition. This world, already raw, now takes on a new kind of beauty, one wrapped in cold silence and shimmer a silver realm, where warmth is a currency more valuable than even gold. But beauty is not the only gift winter brings. It carries severe trials that make summers feel like long-forgotten dreams. Nights stretch interminably long, and daylight hours are fleeting, mere slivers that weave through the thicker night like gossamer threads. Every breeze seems to slice through cloth and sinew, a gentle yet unyielding reminder of nature's unwavering, unbiased power. Your clan, snug within communal halls, huddles around great fires reaching for warmth amid the roaring flames. The smell of smoke ingrains itself into every pore, a pungent, comforting reminder of the life it nurtures within these wooden walls. Here, intimacy is found in the sharing of space, in whispers voiced over simmering stews that promise to brace bodies and spirits alike against the outside chill. The winters impose rationing food, warmth and daylight are each measured, savoured, and stretched as far as ambition and ingenuity can take them. Meat is jerked, and root vegetables wrapped thoughtfully against the cellar's cold. These are the efforts that keep your people sustained, where every effort and sacrifice is amplified by the great Scandinavian frost. Outside your hall, whispers of snowflakes flirt with the earth, coating it in white. The world softens under its weight, blurring edges and muffling sounds, save for the occasional crack of ice, or the eerie moan of frigid winds swirling snow into hypnotic dance patterns across drifts. Yet, in all its chill, life doesn't pause for your shivers or complaints. Furs layered thickly provide more than mere comfort, they are armor against the encroaching bleakness, mementos from hunts that are now lifelines during these winter confinements. Historians still argue whether these winters were viewed solely as times of hardship or whether they provided invaluable respite and regeneration for a people fiercely at odds with a harsh world. Many view this season as Mother Nature enforcing a grand pause, a sacred interruption where tales and wisdom are shared beneath the wrapping embrace of winter darkness. A time to mend, to tend to kin and kinship, to survive the season's hold with stoic resolve. Inside, tales and skaldic songs resonate against wooden beams. They are comforting echoes, weaving stories of heroism and heartache through generations, fortifying minds in anticipation of thinning supplies. These verbal salves are among the most powerful prescriptions against the potentially overwhelming claustrophobia of winter's grasp. Amidst the legends and modern historiography, you ponder the curious fringe tidbit. Some claimed that even as spirits of unrest sought rest, trolls and hulderfolk might wander just beyond these frost-tipped doorways, seeking mischief in the white blanketed stillness. It's enough to keep eyes wide beneath fur blankets, spark ready to snap awake at the slightest hint of mischievous nudges or ghosts of ungodly hours. Layered in traditions and tales, what emerges through this season isn't merely a test of mettle, but a forging of spirit. Winters may constrict life to warmth and hall, yet it nurtures the mind to wander far. Here, imagination builds castles resistant to both cold and doubt. Winter doesn't last forever. Odinson sees to that. Your preparation and patience see you into the thaw where the ice concedes to budding promise, and days yield glimpses of green promises not kept absent-mindedly. Yet this hibernation of sorts reveals its worth, knitting community more closely and conjuring strength from shared adversity. Wrapped in winter's narrative is a truth that transcends time. In those dark months, even as weather holds sway and comforts dwell in hearth's embrace, the heart remains eager for the rekindling of what lies beyond the chill, ready to spring back into action, renewed and revitalized. With this understanding firmly planted, you embrace the dread and desire of long winter months and await the chance to emerge anew, tested and undeniably transformed. As the harsh grip of winter loosens its chilly embrace, your mind turns toward the invisible threads that weave culture and belief through every fabric of your Viking life. The immense significance of the Norse pantheon and superstitions, both sacred and mundane, come into sharp focus. In this world, mythology acts as both compass and comfort. guiding you through the unknown with narratives woven as seamlessly as your heavy woolen cloaks. The world of Norse mythology reveals itself in layers, an intricate tapestry featuring gods living among giants and battling sea monsters. It is here, amid the flickering shadows of your common hall's roaring fire, that stories are exchanged like precious relics, each one carrying lessons wrapped in the heroic or tragic deeds of immortal beings. As you tuck a cloak tighter around your just-numb fingers, stark against the drafty night, your senses sharpen to Odin's all-seeing wisdom, Freya's warfare and love, and Loki's cunning trickery. These legends embody the struggles and victories of not only gods, but of humanity itself. Skalds recount tales not just to stir the imagination, but to remind you of divine influences felt in daily life. A wide-ranging mythology, informing social structures and daily concerns. Hearing the thunderclap on a stormy sea voyage might easily step from reality into an acknowledgement of RRR's powerful presence, our hammer-wielding protector casting shadows over treacherous waves. Consider a specific mainstream historical fact. Norsemen celebrated winter festivals such as Yule, which continues in evolved traditions even in modern times. Yet what you find in these gatherings goes beyond celebration. It's an honoring of deities giving thanks through feast and fire. When the laughter and cheer of mead-soaked conversations swirl around you, there's a palpable connection binding your kin as strongly as any blood tie. You are acutely aware of the superstitions that inform the daily acts of Vikings. And within this sphere sits the quirky tidbit of runes, those enigmatic symbols carved into stone or bone. Each rune stands enigmatic, yet charged with purpose. They speak to fate, foretell destinies, or serve to protect. And while some rune sets knit spirituality into fabric, others guide longship captains across uncharted waters, bridging the gap between earth and the ethereal. It's undeniable there's comfort found in these anchors. Yet inside this vibrant tableau of belief, you cannot escape the scholarly debate that persists. Was Viking religious belief centralized in established hierarchies, or was it a decentralized melange evolving distinct narratives between varied settlements? The choice feels as broad as your growing understanding. Perhaps it explains how faith moves with flexible urgency through the lives of their people. Ideologies may drift like the mist over fjords, yet the ardor remains unyielding. Walking forested paths during forays, you begin noticing the whispers of Hoda weaving shadows, the porous boundary where mythal and mineral worlds step together. How Thor's goats traverse the two-headed hills could beseech blessings during hunts, or Freya's longing dance across plains offer favors upon coastal destinations echoing youthful energy. This belief in shared witness of godly presence reckoned, especially during the quiet solemnity of sacrifice or sacred gathering grounds, your people in an ever-turning world where nature's whims hold sway over courage, wisdom, and ultimately survival. The line between past and present, legend and reality, blurs, as comfortably held as the flick of dagger drawn in daily ritual. Atop all this lies an understanding that Norse mythology is not static, but dynamic, a living, breathing tradition, thriving in this ever-evolving community. It's here the mythos pulses alive, cradled within words, bound to fearless patrons, wandering distant shores, or seeking solace against harsh elements. From the sagas revered as roadmaps of the soul to icons clung to amid quickened breath and fragmented forces, they give more than just tales, imparting an introduction of self and identity woven throughout the fabric of every breath taken outside in this frosty expanse. And as you internalize the breadth of this cosmology, gods upon the gallows, the serpent circling the world, the ultimate battle of Ragnarok, on the horizon, it's hard not to imagine their shadows tracing your footsteps alongside the storyline you're forging. In this world where reality and the fantastical walk hand in hand, belief becomes more than a bridge between worlds. It becomes your steadfast guide, an ever-present whisper extending its welcome from the halls of gods to the heart of a Viking warrior queen, steadfast amid the tides of myth and shadow. As the stories of Norse mythology and superstitions linger in your mind, the rhythm of Viking life resumes its ever-demanding pace. The whisper of ancient sagas fades into the background as you return to the relentless routine aboard the longship. Rowing is the lifeblood of the Viking expeditions, and oh, the tedium and tenacity it demands are profoundly taxing. Envision yourself amidst the cramped confines of the ship, each rowing station a carefully considered cog in an intricate machine. The thumping of oars against water creates a rhythmic cadence, your body moving instinctively with its music. The wood strains under blisters forming on palms, a reminder that personal discomfort yields to collective strength. Here you are, bound for distant shores or familiar fjords, rowing hours upon hours through the bracing salt spray and the ever-watchful eyes of the sea gods. Warm voices of commands carve through the shifting winds, calling for coordination and resilience. It's teamwork personified, each warrior uniquely integral to these relentless echoes of exertion. The experience is a meditation of sorts. Each dip and draw pulls you deeper into a world where energy converts from muscle tension to forward thrust, the rippling waters carrying the shared history of Vikings exploring new territories. It's a tribute to the original compasses for these robust crafts, the stars twinkling above like timeless talismans, guiding you through endless night skies. For anyone conflicted between reality and dreamlike imagination, the stark routine of propulsion merges both worlds. Sending you into moments of clarity where harsh truths mirroring these depths redefine your journey. Your task demands physical prowess, but leaves room for drifting thoughts, allowing brief escapes into personal recesses, clinging to warmth behind, eyes closed with fatigue. In these moments, you can't help but marvel at how historians still argue whether the longship was revolutionary in design or simply a miraculous adaptation of an existing model. Regardless, it owes its legend to a well-oiled orchestra, blending sweat and tenacity with a symphony of synchronized breaths. Get a cheeky grin when picturing today's modern conveniences with central heating and motorized travel. Our lives now indulge necessities Vikings never imagined while crossing borderless oceans. And yet, even now, as you chuckle at that thought, you know the trade of progress for human perseverance is not without its nuances sometimes. It's a bittersweet reminder of the simplicity harnessed by ancient hands. Nonetheless, rowing itself is a tactile social fabric, filled with sonorous echoes binding together the dreams and intentions forged long before setting sail. Beyond this ritual lies the camaraderie honed amid laughter, song, and even disagreements dissolved through the onward pulse of an unchanging ocean. Every pull deepens both your tension and your ties to those around you, and this shared struggle fosters something more than mere kinship, a warrior's collective spirit propelling history itself. And somewhere in that physical exertion and silent moments of caution, as you circle the narrative of eternity, seen through the cresting waves, you recognize the significance of this odyssey. Each moment, etched with oars in motion, charts your course, much like great tapestries that trace the arcs of lives led and legacies left behind. So as the sun nestles below the horizon, leaving only stars as witness to your course, your oar dips into the depths, finding its rhythm again. The cycle resumes with renewed purpose, and your understanding of what it means to move through this ancient world, inseparable from myth, folklore, and daily toil, begins to reveal itself like a chapter still unfolding. Pulsing alongside this ancient heartbeat, the call of your Viking life echoes across time and space, its readiness merging both tranquility and tension, effortlessly steered by the raw power of a seafaring queen, undeterred. In these moments, as the rower's rhythm absorbs you, you realize that the journey is both the destination and your tie to the rich tapestry of ancestral voyages. In the end, as you glide into slumber upon the whispers of the lapping waves, it becomes clear that, despite the labor, you are more intertwined with the grandeur of this legacy than you could ever have anticipated. The routine of rowing becomes a familiar meditative state, but life as a Viking warrior queen is never truly without its complexities. Beyond the physical demands lies the delicate dance of navigating intertribal conflicts and alliances, a political tapestry woven intricately by bonds of kinship, marriage, and shared history. Imagine yourself stepping into this intricate web of relationships, where each decision reverberates through the delicate balance of power. The air is thick, with the scent of wood smoke and lingering tension from previous skirmishes, each agreement or dissension traced out like fault lines beneath the surface. Here, politics is as much a battlefield as any raid or expedition, demanding careful strategy and steady nerve. Alliances are forged and broken with equal fervor, influenced by both the distant echoes of past slights and the immediate needs for survival. You find yourself amid discussions that seem to hang poised on the edge of tranquility, where a single word or gesture could tip conciliatory exchanges into hostile standoffs. Voices lift and fall as warriors and leaders weigh the benefits of unity against the timeless pull of rivalry. Standing beside your fellow leaders, the weight of history sits heavily on your shoulders. You're reminded that trust is a precious commodity and laboriously, easily lost, and often as intangible as the whispers of the elemental wind slicing through the meeting hall. It's not just about securing allies, but ensuring that your own people's loyalties remain steadfast amid the ever-shifting tides of allegiance. In this world, territorial disputes and the coveted glories of war are never far from anyone's thoughts. Your journey takes you into tense negotiations, encouraging shared trade amidst the temptation for acquisition, a balancing act as precarious as rowing through storm-tossed seas. You must always stay vigilant, guarding against betrayal cloaked in the guise of camaraderie. But it's not all grim ties and guarded speeches. There is laughter shared after agreements, boisterous feasts where warriors set aside quarreling swords for the convivial clinking of drinking horns. It is at these feasts that stories are swapped, honoring past deeds and setting the course for future ventures. Celebration, as much as war, is woven into the cultural tapestry, a testament to enduring spirit, resilience, and shared humanity. And it's during one such revelry that the story of Ethelflad, Lady of the Mercians, Circular Tessa, Saxon queen, hailed for her boldness. While Vikings may live in a world set apart, respect is afforded to tales of noteworthy women from foreign lands. Her story becomes a reminder that the threads of leadership crossing borders and loyalties are intertwined with common challenges and courage, irrespective of reigning territories. You can't help but ponder the myriad debates of academia around whether Viking alliances relied on marital ties or mutual respect, productively established through sharing tradition. Historians offer mixed signals, uncovering evidence of both strategic unions and honor-bound camaraderie, strengthening bonds beyond mere expedience. In these moments, as you stand amid lively exchanges and whispered intrigues, a quirky tidbit finds its way into the conversation. Rumor has it that a North Sea alliance hinged upon the exchange of sacred trees, oak and ash, symbolizing both geographical and spiritual cohesion. While it may not top the annals of modern strategy, you can sense the undeniable specialness in these gestures, encompassing reverence and lightheartedness within Viking culture. Through the nuances of negotiations, you acknowledge the central truth of this world. Leadership requires more than just force. It requires finesse, an ability to ride the seams of cultural interplay that direct the undercurrents of fate. You stand in awe, participating in this meeting of minds amidst shadows cast by the central fire's flickering dance, a communal resonance as rich and complex as the myths told within these walls. The caress of diplomacy folds into the fabric of your responsibilities, strengthening the ties that weave through the everyday life of a Viking warrior queen. It's an understanding not confined to the echoes of our ancients or modern interpreters, but one filled with living breather, tribute to the shared journey of hearts and kingdoms across the tapestry of time. As you step forward, crossing once again from strategy into action, and back to the ever-coursing pulse of life between voyages, the roads ahead are paved by both kinship and cunning strength. Grounded firmly within the ageless legacy of interwoven histories, you prepare for new venture and the embrace of both rain-soaked shores and sun-dappled hall, embracing the vibrant lessons learned along the way. As the echoes of negotiations fade into the background, a new day brings forth the undeniable truth of your position. The mantle of leadership as a Viking warrior queen is multifaceted, filled with challenges that test the strength and shrewdness at every turn. Authority in this world is not merely born of lineage, but sculpted through action and insight. The sheer weight of these duties accompanies you each footfall, dictated not merely by the rhythm of daily life, but by the broader brushstrokes of destiny you paint upon your people's past, present, and future. Today the air carries the scent of damp earth and wood smoke from the encampment fires, potent reminders of the responsibilities that call you onward. As a Viking warrior queen, each decision demands balance, a subtle dance between firmness and compassion. Authority must be wielded with both iron and Velveeta duality, embracing strength without sacrificing empathy. The whispers of nature accompany you, each sound amplified by the mantle of leadership. Among your people, you command respect, hard-earned and fiercely guarded. Warriors who stand tall in their own right look to you for direction. Your presence, carved out of countless shared struggles, finds its reflection in the resolve that binds your tribe together, a steadfastness nurtured over many seasons spent living and fighting side by side. Viking society may look to mythology for lessons, but its legends resonate profoundly. You remember the tale of Skadi, the ice giantess, who became a goddess not by birthright but through fierce determination and negotiation, a testament to the resilience demanded of those who lead. It's a reminder that leadership manifests itself in myriad forms. Debates abound. Historians still argue whether a Viking queen's authority was fully recognized or tempered by patriarchal bias. The realities of your world sit in dynamic contrast to these scholarly negotiations. You embody both guardian and harbinger of transformation within this tumultuous era, straddling the line between the ancient ways and the ever-approaching tides of change. Your days are filled with decision-making, each interaction potentially setting into motion ripples that stretch far beyond the immediate moment. Talks of future raids, settlements, and alliances weave together with the practicalities of ensuring agricultural yield and distributing resources equitably. It's a fluid navigation of politics and pragmatism, where every move crafts the symphony of leadership. Female authority in this Viking world is no mere footnote. It commands respect, but not without effort. Further complicating this already delicate balance is the challenge of maintaining power amidst the male-dominated hierarchy of warriors, ready to question any decision perceived as weak or misguided. Each command echoes both a responsibility and a statement that transcends gender. It's the resonance of legacy shaping the path ahead. Yet, the day-to-day governance also extends into the realm of the personal. The keen eyes of your people look to you not simply as a leader, but as a reassuring presence. Their nurturer, entitled to wield metaphorical and actual swords with equal ease. Often laughing together at the banter during communal gatherings, your understanding of this diverse fabric that binds the community shines through. It's at this intersection of action and intuition that you truly embody a Viking warrior queen's heart. Calls for strategy merge seamlessly into song and relaxation, each contributing to a powerful mosaic of shared experiences. Decisions made are not just inked history, but living memory etched into the essence of this community's spirit. Every dusk brings new opportunities to seize upon the next bleary day, but also offers solemn reflection upon the steps taken this far. Your role, as both architect and defender of a lineage, extending far beyond temporary breaths to encompass far-reaching legacy shifts, at times weary, but nonetheless driven by what the future may unfurl. The camp settles into comforting rhythms, the gentle roar of the hearth singing tales of heart and home into the icy air, bright embers casting a warm glow on thoughtful faces. As darkness closes in, punctuated by the idle hums of warriors recounting their kin's tales, your resolve binds the pieces of this world together beautifully and powerfully. And so, as night descends to embrace the land in its familiar shadow, the monumental task of governance and leadership never veers far from where duty calls. It finds manifestation in the assured strength that walks beside you day and night, a tribute to a queen's resolve, fueling the legacy bound to unfold. This legacy is more than mere testimony. It's a celebration of each breath lived, every choice sculpting the saga it will become. Life amongst the Viking settlements presents a different rhythmone that hums with daily activities, creating a vivid and bustling tapestry of community and survival. Imagine yourself stepping into the center of a thriving settlement, where the sounds and scents of industry and life interweave in a harmonious chorus. The air crackles with the energy of everyday endeavors, an orchestra of productivity and camaraderie echoing through the village. You can almost feel the pulse of life, hearing a mixture of voices, children's laughter as they scamper through the dusty streets, and the low tones of traders haggling spiritedly over goods and cattle. The distinct aroma of freshly baked bread mingles with the sharp scent of leather being worked by skilled hands, forming a sensory backdrop that grounds you firmly in this vibrant tableau. Every corner you turn, you're met with the tangible manifestations of Viking craftsmanship and resourcefulness. Artisans hammer away diligently, forging tools and weapons that will carry the mark of their maker into far-off battles or daily use. Nearby, weavers and tailors bustle, creating garments that are both practical and emblems of personal and familial identity. The village centre serves as both marketplace and meeting ground. Here, barter and trade thrive, fostering connections not only within the settlement, but with visiting traders from distant lands. Exotic wares are exchanged, stories are shared from one corner of the known world to the other, and languages blend in a melodic dance of cultural interplay. In this cornerstone of Viking life, the hustle of survival and prosperity is inextricably tied to community. The homes, clustered together for warmth and protection, house family units that extend beyond blood ties. Neighbors support each other in times of need or celebration, forming bonds that reinforce the very fabric of their shared reality. Amid the people's bustling paths, you find thoughtful nods to historical facts. The distinctive longhouses serve as multifunctional spaces, where people gather for meals, storytelling, and collective decision-making. Their relatively simplistic architecture belies a deeper significance, promoting both unity and awareness of one's role within the great Viking narrative. Historians still argue whether the income differential existed prominently within such settlements, or was a more modern construct projected back onto history. Yet, in these moments, you glean the immediate truth. Status among the Vikings draws not solely from wealth, but from bravery, knowledge, those noble sacrifices made both at hearth and upon battlefield. Pause for just a moment, allowing a grin when you spot a humble quirk. Butter, making set to musica. Group of villagers singing to pass time delightfully while churning cream into gold. Such light-heartedness roots the soul amid the more cumbersome challenges. Women and men mill past, heads abuzz with errands and anticipation of seasonal changes. You're reminded that, here, each role serves another, and nobody stands idly, a collective hum fueled by obligation and dedication, where work in fields turns to bean stews and hearty chowders, nourishing both body and spirit. As you wander through the encampment lanes, you notice gardens being sown, children engaged in earnest mock wars, and the occasional wink from an elder sharing riddles of etymology rich with ancient wisdom. It's more than commerce and crafts. This vibrant settlement represents humanity shaped by its terrain and trials. As twilight approaches, the air becomes infused with the sense of evening fire-skirling strands of smoke rising into the cooling ether. Around hearths scattered like constellations, families gather to unwind, weaving tales shrouded in regional mysticism or laughter-born dreams. Communal gatherings light the village anew as night draws its veil. Lessons learned by listening to skalds and fledgling warriors finding solace among their peers. Tradition seeps through each breather, compounded heritage, enriched by battle cries and lullabies. And so the life of a Viking settlement is more than the sum of mere activity. It embodies a culture rich in complexity and simplicity, perseverance and prosperity. It whispers stories from stone-strewn pathways and creaks through the sturdy threshold of each longhouse. Tales spun in Viking veracity, in these seemingly inconspicuous patterns of everyday life. Reflected in the echoed rhythm of your own footsteps, you witness both preservation and progression, discovering along the way how this world relentlessly interlaces strength and community. Pulled into the resonant heartbeat of this settlement, you find kinship extended beyond ancestral teaser, comforting symphony of belonging that is undeniably, vibrantly Viking. As the settlement bustles with its vibrant daily rhythm, a new chapter beckons a journey of exchange and exploration that reaches far beyond the familiar fjords. Trading with the East is where the Viking spirit of adventure melds with commerce. As you delve into the vast network of routes that link the Norse world with distant lands, rich in opportunity and intrigue. Picture yourself preparing for this venture, the excitement buzzing through the community like the hum of a tuning fork, The air is charged with anticipation, redolent with the scent of tar and wool as goods are meticulously packed into the longship. You smell the resinous pitch sealing the hull, and in your hands, the soft texture of furs and finely woven textiles destined for trade. The longship is not only a vessel of exploration but an extension of the Viking soul, poised to carry carefully selected wares into the great unknown. Among the goods ready for trade are the sturdy walrus ivory, crafted into intricate pieces that whisper of artistry and time, and the high-quality furs that speak of the cold lands that shaped them. These are your passports to the East items, to exchange for the exotic luxury that awaits: silk, spices, and the promise of silver. Stepping aboard the longship, you feel the weight of possibility mingling with salty air as the vessel sets sail. The sun casts a golden path upon the waves-shimmering road, guiding your collective journey eastward. Stars will trade places with sunlight as miles slip beneath the keel, bearing you ever closer to bustling ports and marketplaces, resplendent with unfamiliar sights and sounds. The sea is both ally and adversariates, vastness echoing with the possibilities of trade winds and tempestuous challenges. A constant companion, the rhythm of rowing, accompanies stories shared beneath the canopy of stars, of traders and explorers who sought out the fabled riches of far-off lands. With every stroke, you edge nearer to these distant markets, a tapestry of expectation stretching across time. Upon arrival in one such thriving hub, the air is alive with vibrant color and a symphony of languages. Enter the exotic spice trade, with scents of cinnamon, cardamom, and saffron swirling sensuously through the marketplace. It's a feast for both senses and imagination remarkable, not only for what it offers, but also for the stories exchanged in its vivid depths. Traders and merchants display their wares like precious relics. Here, in the shaded stalls, you marvel at the fine textiles spun with dyes, pulled from the rainbow silks that whisper when touched and glimmer with an iridescence unlike anything spun on your home looms. These encounters are more than sensory delights. They're bridges over the chasm of cultural divides, spanning differences in tradition and belief. As coins change hands and words are exchanged in barter, the language of commerce becomes universal recognition that binds humanity through shared interests and necessity. Even as you hear strangers' tongues smooth and rhythmic in the air, the purpose's clarity underlines your mission. Seek prosperity, extend kinship, bring back portions of this world to enrich your own. Among these exchanges lies a deeply human quirksome goods, require no tangible value, but find their worth as curious tokens. A windlass spun from exotic woods here, a curious scroll there, filled with unwritten allure for those who'll interpret the contents back home. Amidst bartering, this little-known fact surfaces, bringing light to the trade mechanism dismissively labelled by historians as souvenirs, gifts to foster friendships beyond mere necessity and memory. In these shared moments, you appreciate the understated complexity of trading dynamics. Historians still debate whether trade or raid defined Viking expansion primarily. Yet, standing amidst this merchant's melting pot, you come to realize how voyaging east isn't solely about accumulated wealth, but weaving stories and experience into the Viking tapestry as influential as any patriarch's counsel or warrior's blade. And when your hold is full with treasures reflective of cultures beyond the seas, the longship embarks upon its return, journey-laden not only with physical bounty, but with that which stirs the imagination and enriches the soul. The sails billow with promiser cargo that carries legacy forward in time, sustaining families long after the ship's dock, this vibrant exchange a testament to Viking commerce and curiosity. Heading homeward bound, the affirming winds whisper reminders of intertwining destiny as ropes and sails strain to carry you back upon these ancient trade routes. With stories fresh in your heart and vision alighted by newfound truths, you sense that just as the ocean binds distant lands, this trade binds time itself, an eternal exchange of knowledge and culture that continues to shape your collective heritage. The journey back from the east leaves your heart full, and the hold brimful with treasures both tangible and intangible. Yet, as you return to the familiar embrace of your settlement, another aspect of Viking life awaits an exploration into the art and craftsmanship that flourishes amidst the everyday rigors of survival. The Viking penchant for creativity is not merely functional, but a vibrant expression of identity and myth. Upon returning, the golden hour saturates the landscape, casting long shadows and lending a soft, honeyed glow to the surroundings. Here, artisans are hard at work, their hands dusted with fragments of their craft, a mosaic of creative pursuit that transforms raw materials into objects of beauty and utility. You find yourself wandering through workshops alive with activity. The ring of hammer on anvil resonates through the air, shaping iron into tools and weapons destined not only for function, but as works of precision and art. Blacksmiths, wearing expressions of stoic concentration, coax glowing metal into forms that will stand against the test of time, each piece a testament to skill tempered by the fires from which it is born. Nearby, the distinct sound of carving fills the air. You watch as nimble fingers trace intricate patterns into wood and bone, inscribing runes and swirling motifs that tell stories of gods, heroes, and the natural world. The gentle rasp of the tools adds an auditory texture to the turning wheels of creation. Bold designs carved into the prow of longships and the elaborate incised decorations on wooden chests resonate with a cultural identity steeped in legend. While some carve, others weave. Looms click with a steady rhythm, echoing their ancient purpose. Wool thread-dyed with the hues of earth and sky transform under skilled fingers into tapestries that narrate sagas of adventure and daily life. Colors drawn from nature's palette burst forth, each weave and warp a tribute to both ancestry and innovation. But it's not just the layperson who engages with this art. Even within the hallowed halls of power, Viking leaders embrace ornamentation. You hear whispered tales of an ornate tapestry hanging in grandiose halls, the envy of kings and queens, its threads spun from myth and metaphor, weaving tales of the past while guiding the future. The settlement is alive with activity, a symphony of creation, and you recognize a quirky, perhaps less celebrated tidbit of Viking culture. In your travels, you discover how Vikings decorated themselves with jewelry made from whatever material they could acquire, even tree resin, and enjoyed playful experimentation with style, much like snapshots of their own identity. Artisans rush about, fulfilling demands of utility without forsaking aesthetics, making generous contributions to the community. Candlesticks form delicate silhouettes in dancing flames. Brooches and buckles, outward symbols of inner narratives, bear witness to the legacy forged by those who wear them. Creativity and craftsmanship flow freely here, a lifeblood manifesting an unbroken line between functional design and cultural storytelling. Naturally, amidst acknowledging this artistic flair, you find yourself musing over debates that echo through time. Historians argue whether these crafts were motivated more by spiritual belief than mere utility. While practicality undoubtedly plays a significant role, it's impossible to ignore the profound impact of cultural expression interwoven into this art. Your stay is filled with vibrant discussions, exchanging stories about the origin of certain motifs, whether borrowed from or influencing neighboring cultures. The exchanges continue late into the night, when artisans gather to share kinship tales over mead. Their shared laughter is punctuated by songs, spun as deftly as any weave under their care. As day turns into night and the fires dim, the settlement rests, brimming with an energy holstered by creation. You understand that these crafts embody the heartbeat of community and expression, extending beyond mere survival. They celebrate identity, bestow pride, and honor the vibrant saga of life as a Vikinga legacy rich with art and tradition that echoes through time's corridors. Drawing out that final breath of evening air, full of wood smoke and dew, you appreciate the tapestry of creativity that these artisans weave. Each piece forms vital threads in the grand Viking narrative, a poignant reminder of where you stand between myth and material, past and present, drawing ever closer to the heart of Viking life. As the light of everyday artistry fades into the background, a new pulse captures the attention of your settlement. The air tingles with anticipation, and a charged energy seeps through every heart rate preparations are underway. This is a fundamental part of Viking life, where adventure and risk dance hand in hand, drawing warriors and leaders ever forward on the eddies of history. Your senses awaken to the bustling, camp-determined men and women, weave through with purpose, gathering supplies and honing weapons for the imminent departure. The air is thick with the sharp tang of freshly sharpened steel, mixed with the earthy undertone of leather as armor is fitted and adjusted. Nearby, bowstrings hum under careful fingers, each test drawing the promise of precise flight in battle. Rand's affairs are conducted with an efficient rhythm, where organization is key. Strategic discussions echo through the wooden beams of the meeting hall, leaders and scouts poring over maps that detail the coasts and inlets of lands ripe for plunder. These gatherings are both somber and exciting, nod to the tangible and intangible spoils awaiting those who set sail. Amidst the preparations, there's an undeniable gravitas. Each act fulfills not only logistical needs, but embodies a tradition burned into the Viking soul, inexorably tied to honor and survival. The divine winds of Odin's wisdom guide these efforts, as Vikings seek blessings from the gods before battles commence. Rituals of protection and foresight are conducted, with offerings whispered fervently to unseen forces, an ancient dance of belief, binding this world to ethereal realms. The longships rest imposingly along the shoreline, their latticework of oars poised to carry warriors into the unknown. Each vessel is a microcosm of Viking society, where every role is vital. Warriors stand side by side, their camaraderie forged through countless trials, each heartbeat echoing the war drums thundering in their chests. You can almost sense the stillness before the storm, as whispered stories of past triumphs hang in the air, mingling with the roar of the sea, tantalizing reminder of the challenges ahead. Fatigue and fervor intertwine as your muscles remember the rhythm of rowing, bound under shared intent and vigor. It's during this time that you uncover an anecdote, a quirky detail lost among grander tales. Some say that before raids, Vikings would engage in a ritualistic egg-eating contest, believing the foodstuff would lend them the valor of the rooster. A bellyful of humor suddenly accompanies your preparations, cutting through the somber air like balm against unease. As day lengthens and preparations crescendo, young hearts beat in tune with the sail-raising chant. The force of the wind bellows through the canvas, pulling at the thresholds of patience and unleashing a collective sigh of resolve. The longships launch forth amid great splashes, carrying every ounce of training and trial that shapes a Viking's creed. The moment the hulls leave the shore, a profound shift occurs, a freedom unleashed by the sea, both inviting and perilous. Historians still argue whether these raids were primarily driven by need for resources, or a deeper, more intrinsic yearning for exploration and identity assertion. This relentless drive pulses as a beacon in your mind, its beacon flashing across an ocean of interpretation stretching between survival and ambition. The journey begins. Horizon stretches out infinitely, broken only by the rhythmic rise and fall of waves. Stories passed down through time reveal the intoxicating thrill of these voyages, a space where fear and exhilaration merge, tinged with the promise of glory, wealth, and the forging of legends. Onward you travel, where the wind flips tails upon the spindrift and gilded daylight dances on the sea's expanse. A sensory tapestry weaves through the warrior's psyche, lessons learned, and victories honed on the edge of adventure, mystic murmurings that coax them ever nearer to untamed shores. In this climatic space, where courage becomes companion and aspiration intertwines with the breathless promise of raids yet to come, one eternal truth holds steady. It's not just treasure or territory that the Vikings seek, but those whispers of greatness slipping through the gaps of time and tale. And so you sail with confidence toward an uncertain future where destiny and discovery promise to unfurl in kaleidoscopic hues upon this boundless voyage. As the longships glide over the ocean, the rhythm of the sea subsiding into a quiet anticipation, thoughts naturally turn towards what lies beyond the thrill of the raid. Post-battle realities emerge, grounding warriors once again as they pull into the sheltered havens of far-off lands, shielded from hostile eyes by cragged cliffs and dense woodlands. The initial silence is profound, punctuated only by the creak of timber and the whispered rustle of nature's guardian trees, densely packed as soldiers, keeping watch over the secluded bay. Feet eager yet cautious make their way onto foreign grass, each step marring untouched earth with intentions as old as time. There's a sobering beauty in this reclamation, juxtaposed with an understanding of life hanging delicately in balance. Once the dust of combat has settled and the adrenaline of battle has ebbed, reality takes on a sharper hue. The spoils are accounted for, an array of treasures dazzling under the muted light coins, crafted goods, perhaps even captives, whose fate will be determined by ransom or integration. These riches are the thread and sinew meant to weave prosperity back home, promising feasts, alliances, and tales spinning their worth at the fireside. Amid this, those untouched by injury tend to brothers and sisters less fortunate. Mending broken flesh is a solemn task, one where seasoned hands work deftly to staunch wounds or set bones practiced in the art of healing without the comforts of modern medicine. The sharp scent of herbs mingles with the coppery tang of blood, rituals unfolding wordlessly over the battlefield's remains. There's a certain sanctity in this care, where each life holds boundless value and each warrior is more than just a fighter. But even against this visceral backdrop, camaraderie shines brighter than any polished blade. Laughter drifts across the field, sagas wedged between jest and reality, lightening hearts and lifting spirits with every shared glance. It's a vibrant testament to resilience, brotherhood born in the fires of trial, binding individuals into a cohesive unit. Amid the jesting and jovial song, an undeniable question lingers in the air. How much storytelling blurs truth, and how it transforms into legend over time? As if echoing the distant songs of olden days, you recall a well-thumbed fact: the Viking reputation for being more than mere conquerors, but also settlers, adept at interweaving their own culture with those they encountered. It's said they left traces not just on the villages they invaded, but also on traditions and bloodliness, a legacy inextricably linked to both conqueror and native. History itself debates whether this fusion was seamless or fraught with tension. But walking among the living and the memory of fallen foes, the complexity of these exchanges resonates, underscoring human nature's endless adaptability, a testament to both compromise and conquest. Yet, amidst the chaos of conquest and cultural mingling, there's room for quirky details to enrich the post-battle tapestry. It turns out that some warriors would collect strange souvenir-scarved animal bones or polished shells, peculiar mementos of their adventures, oddities set on mantles to spark both curiosity and narrative in their homelands. As you breathe in this air alive with unsettled echoes, your mind drifts to those left behind, cloaked in waiting and remembrance. The raid is as much about return as it is about departure, a passage, where lives step beyond immediate bounds, but invariably curve back on themselves, returning fortified with tales and triumphs. By the time the inning censures over the return, hands filled with all that's won and friendships rekindled, you're reminded of a cycle more intricate than bloodshed. It's the solace found in gazes, resting briefly on the horizon as the longships nudge their prows toward home, a rhythm of departure and return, almost mythological in its predictability and constance. And as the sails harness winds fit to carry you back to familiar fjords, a reality glimmers through simple truths. The reflective mosaic of adventure and homecoming, bound not solely to the outcome of battle, but the experience that ensconces its every detail. It's these post-battle realities, steeped deeply in both solemnity and unity, which create stitches and knots in the vast fabric of Viking narrative, each defining the stories to be told and retold for generations to come. As the longships navigate the return journey, each cresting wave propelling you closer to home, a new challenge emerges that is as timeless and daunting as the sea itself. The unexpected perils of the ocean reveal themselves, forging a path that twists and turns beneath an expansive sky. No journey upon these ancient vessels is ever guaranteed, and the capricious nature of the ocean becomes an ever-present reminder of this reality. Whispers of mythical sea monsters emerge in the misty breath of seasoned sailors, their tales entwined with both fear and fascination. In these moments, the line between legend and reality blurs, where the possibility of encountering such beasts becomes a metaphor for the challenge that the ocean presents. The ship rolls and pitches upon the broad swells, the salt spray mingling with the briny fragrance of the sea. Minds steeped in myth imagine shapes moving just beneath the surface, monstrous entities woven from age-old tales, waiting to test the bravery of any foolhardy enough to challenge them. Historians still argue whether these stories were inspired by true sightings or born from the depths of imagination, debate that continues to ripple through Viking lore like the waves themselves. On this voyage, every sense heightens. Your eyes scan the horizon, ever watchful for the telltale signs of land or lurking hazards. The creak of timber and the hum of tightly stretched sailcloth add auditory texture to the ever-present rush of the ocean each sound, a reminder of the elegance and fragility inherent in this ancient dance between wood, water. As the longship presses onward, guided by the seasoned intuition of its helmsman and the steadfast resolve of its crew, thoughts drift to more tangible challenges. The threat of sudden squalls that turn serene waters into a seething cauldron of fury. It's said that a skilled crew can read the clouds and smell approaching rain, interpreting these omens with a weathered wisdom that borders on the mystical. The sky darkens, and the wind rises a palpable force that commands respect and precision from those aboard. There's humor even in this tension. The banter exchanged between weary sailors undercuts the lurking fear with the camaraderie born from shared hardship. The snap of fabric as sailors tighten sails echoes across tumbling waves, each conscious breath synchronizing heartbeats in time with the storm's rhythm. You find comfort amidst uncertainty as lightning flickers across the horizon. The storm's boom feels both apocalyptic and cleansing. It is in these moments of turmoil that the strength of the Viking heart shines brightest, resilience forged through centuries of navigating treacherous passages and inhospitable tides. Yet, curiosity lends itself to humor amidst the tempesta light-hearted tale, reaching your ears of a Viking who offered tribute to Aegir, the sea god, by casting ale into the frothing deep. This good-natured quirk, regardless of its true efficacy, reflects humanity's unyielding desire to influence and placate the forces that seem beyond control. The storm subsides, leaving the sea churned and restless beneath a clearing sky. Droplets run in rivulets down bearded faces and rugged sails, leaving both ship and crew cleansed and revitalized. With the return of calm, the journey resumes a testament to the indomitable spirit of those who dare to dance on the edges of their own mortality. The smell of petrichor mingles with salt as the clouds disperse, granting passage to streams of sunlight that paint the sea with gentle pastels. At this juncture, the nearness of home begins to whisper through the collective, guiding the longship's prow with hopeful, unwavering certainty. Returning now feels like a homecoming, not just to land but to self, a reaffirmation of perseverance that reaches into the soul of every warrior, every sailor. To survive the sea, to chart unknown courses and overcome adversity, stands as an iridescent badge pressed upon Viking spirit, a legacy built not upon conquest alone, but upon the very act of surviving what lies beneath and beyond the horizon. And as your journey inches toward completion, the wisdom gleaned from the sea's depths will accompany you ashore each crashing wave, a reminder of the mysteries withheld or revealed by the ocean. These nautical legends, entwined with vivid imaginations and salt-worn reality, become part of a never-ending saga, echoing through the ages as you sail onward, through Viking lore and the beating heart of time's unyielding tide. The trials of the sea behind you, there's a palpable sense of relief as the familiar contours of your homeland rise from the horizon, welcoming you back from your watery adventures. The sea voyage slips into memory, replaced by the comforting routines of settlement life, where the heartbeat of Viking entertainment comes alive, providing a much-needed respite from the harshness of daily survival. Evening descends, draping the settlement in shadow as fires flicker to life, casting a warm glow across the sturdy walls of longhouses. The air thickens with the enticing aroma of roasted meat and bubbling stews, the sounds of merriment and clinking drinking horns resonating through the night. As the weight of travel lifts from your shoulders, you join the gathering, eager to indulge in the pleasures that bring light to the darkest of days. Laughter drifts on the evening air, a universal language bridging the gap between warrior and farmer, elder and youth. This gathering is not simply a brief escape from the demands of Viking life. It's an essential thread woven into the richness of your culture, a means to connect, unwind, celebrate victories, and share legends passed down through generations. Imagine yourself amidst this boisterous throng, your senses alive with the tactile warmth of camaraderie. Children chase each other through the night, their laughter threaded with the infectious joy of carefree youth. Older members recount tales remembered fondly, remixed with enough embellishment to induce both awe and chuckle. The skalds begin their performance, voices rising and falling like the heroics depicted in their stories, bringing gods and heroes to vibrant life. These oral epics, the sagas and eddas, enliven imagination and empower tradition, each verse mirroring the ebb and flow of a Viking voyage. As you listen, you find yourself swept up in the vivid narratives of honor, deceit, and valor. A familiar tale traces the exploits of Ragnar Lothbrok, a legendary king whose daring and wit rival any known brought to life with every word spun from the skald's tongue. Near the fire, craftsmen and artisans display their creations. Marriage of form and function. These gatherings serve to showcase skill-intricate wood carvings, tell stories in silent eloquence, and bone or antler jewelry glitters in the firelight. These moments highlight simple joys beyond conquest, framing artistry as its triumph and testament to legacy. Amidst this merriment, historians still puzzle over curious artifacts traced back to these cultural enclaves, questioning whether they were remnants of tradition or products of evolving societal shift. Theories abound, fueled by the discovery of items like intricately carved gaming pieces, capturing the depth of leisure's role in Viking society, and how game boards unfold with strategy akin to the voyages themselves. Games are not only for the young ones around the fire, but shared by seasoned warriors' dice rolling from hand to hand, pieces leaping across boards in skillful play mirroring war strategies. There are friendly contests of wrestling, where feats of strength delight young and old alike, engaging hearts with a playful and energetic spirit that rounds out the demands of battle. And amidst the warmth and shared joy, there's a certain camaraderie, a subtle undertone, that even these evenings are more than mere indulgence. They cultivate community spirit, reinforcing bonds and forging memories that tie one generation to the next, a narrative as tangible as the fires that dance above the gathering. The nights are laced with the gentle sarcasm of playfully exchanged jabs, proof that laughter always held its place alongside tradition, even in a time hardened by strife. As the celebration winds down and shadows stretch longer across the torch-lit ground, the evening calls for the accompaniment of a slower, softer Talia reminder that just as in battle and negotiation, survival takes many forms. The skald's final notes hang in the air like dried herbs from the rafters, their truths and metaphors seeping back into everyday life, a vivid reminder of the power of storytelling as both haven and heritage. With the night deepening its embrace, quietude takes hold, averting eyes towards the horizon's promise of a new day's dawn. Your thoughts wander, just as the stars begin to punctuate the inky sky, forming a canvas of light and shadow, a dynamic reminder of the constellations that guide seafarers across the world. Among these homemakers, travelers, and warriors, the idea that entertainment is seamlessly tied to survival takes shape. For these stories, these games, and these shared curiosities cast a glow far brighter than any distant voyage or stolen wealth. Together, wreathed by the warmth of family and shared laughter, you find solace within the communal heart. Entertainment here isn't a simple diversion. It's a tapestry, reaffirming identity, a marker that loops joy and resilience through each saga of the past, present, and what lies ahead along the threads of time. As the echoes of last night's revelry settle into memory, another facet of the Viking world comes into focus, a landscape governed not just by community and celebration, but by the intricate web of law and justice that guides daily life. Beneath the layers of Viking spontaneity and exploration runs a current of governance. The law assemblies, or things, where disputes are settled, justice is rendered, and a fragile balance is maintained among fiercely independent souls. Imagine standing within this open-air assembly, the thing, where the voices of elders and freemen mingle with the crisp breeze. Gravel crunches underfoot as the community gathers in a natural amphitheatre-wide circle of stones or wooden staves set against the backdrop of verdant hills or rugged shoreline. The air carries the earthy scent of grass and distant sea, interwoven with the tension of unresolved grievances that ripple through the expectant crowd. Presiding over the assembly is the law speaker, a figure of wisdom and authority. His voice resonates through the crowd, charged with the responsibility of reciting legal precedents from memoria living repository of tradition and order. In the absence of written records, these oral recitations are sacred scripts, binding the community to their shared past and affirmed futures. Here, disputes large and small come to light. The fragility of life means conflict is not only inevitable, but an expected part of existence, a stark reminder of the tensions woven into the fabric of Viking society. Neighbors may find themselves at odds over the boundary of a pasture, while matters such as theft or violence demand swift and decisive action. The laws are articulated with deliberative gravity, an acknowledgement that justice requires the careful balance of kinship and impartiality. This governance system, both formal and fluid, offers a stage for eloquence and persuasion, a sort of medieval courtroom drama where logic intertwines with emotion and oaths sworn are as binding as iron shackles. Historians still argue whether these early legal systems laid the groundwork for later parliamentary traditions, or if they were simply pragmatic measures of conflict resolution necessitated by necessity. You find yourself reflecting on this debate, recognizing the sophistication within a system that, though seemingly rudimentary, sparked the genesis of structured governance. Decade-old grievances are dredged up, perpetuating the belief that unaddressed conflict casts long shadows that ripple far beyond the immediate accused or accuser. It's a grim spectacle woven from necessity. Homesteads and fishing grounds are scrutinized, and blood feuds endure with a ferocity born from both pride and protection. A light-hearted rumor spreads amid these serious proceedings, whispering of a quirky form of justice, a form of combat by poetic verse. Skalds could settle disputes with wit rather than weaponry, crafting narratives that laid bare the follies of all involved. It's an amusing reminder of the sway stories hold, a testament to the equal footing gained by those with agile minds and silvered tongues. Punishments range from fines paid in wealth or livestock to more severe consequences, such as outlawry, a sentence that strips the transgressor of protection under the law, thrust into a liminal space where shadows blur friend from foe. In this world, the community serves as both judge and jury, with each ruling echoing far longer than words spoken or ropes tightened. As the thing draws to a close and the law speaker steps down, a muted air of finality lingers over the dispersing throng. The ground bears witness to both contrition and resolution, traces of triumph and defeat, etched like footfalls into the dusty earth, a time-worn ledger that records the ebb and flow of justice in a society adept at balancing autonomy and allegiance. You return to your duties with a renewed understanding of law's frailty, witnessing how it bridges not just people and property, but the past and presenter means of charting collective identity through intractable human realities. In stepping away, one final thought resonates: the thing is neither just a testament nor theatre, but a profound reminder of the delicate equilibrium straddling the tempestuous seas of human endeavor, a lesson in the perpetual navigation between justice and retribution, cradled in ancient hands. Together, these proceedings demonstrate that the law is as vital a pillar as the oar or sword, intrinsic to the Viking soul, standing against both the storms of nature and those within, exemplified in passion and mortal breath. Here, among alleys of mountains and shifting skies, the tapestries of life untangle, transforming everyday disputes into historical narratives capable of weathering the calm and tempest alike. With the ebb and flow of the assembly's justice still resonating in your thoughts, the whispers of the past reach out again, drawing your attention to the rituals and rites that mark the passage from life to afterlife. The grave goods debate presents itself a dialogue of both tangible artifacts and immaterial beliefs that stretch back through generations. As you stroll amidst the burial mounds and stone markers silhouetted against the expansive sky, an understanding of how Vikings regarded death unfolds. Each burial site speaks with silent eloquence, the earth carefully turned to hold not just bodies but the remnants of a life once lived. Here the air seems stiller, imbued with a solemnity that imbues it with both reverence and mystery. Within these burial sites, the fascinating tradition of grave goods comes into focus, a practice where the dead are interred alongside possessions meant to ease their journey into the afterlife. Jewels, weapons, and everyday articles rest here, nestled within the soil as if in slumber, each carefully selected and placed by those left behind. It speaks not only of affection and honor, but of the deeply held belief that death was not an end, but a transition to a realm as vivid and eternal as this one. Historians still argue whether these grave goods are indicative of the deceased's earthly status, or interwoven with spiritual beliefs about the journey to Valhalla or beyond. Yet, as you traverse these hallowed grounds, the tangible weight of these questions fills the air with an almost sacred curiosity, the debate between the past and present lingering like an unresolved melody. A particular sight catches your attention, where an intricately forged sword lies beside its owner, clasps still glittering despite the wear of centuries. Its presence ignites the imagination, weaving tales of valor and battle, triumphs, and trials all succinctly summarized in the rusted blade resting at its warrior's side. It's a reminder that life in this world thrummed with adventure and peril, every possession now imbued with the silent history of its owner. Among the caches of wealth and craft, a quirky tidbit emerges: a peculiar array of food items discovered in some graves, possibly intended to sustain the departed on their journey, suggests shared meals not of this world. You can't help but smile at the thought of a Viking warrior savoring pickled herring and salted pork in the afterlife, a comforting nod to the enduring bonds forged at hearth and home. Beyond the warriors and chieftains, the graves of women and children speak softly of the quieter stories woven into this complex society. Women, often interred with household and weaving implements, offer glimpses into roles as both nurturers and creators, their artifacts carving a revered niche within the cultural mosaic. These grave sites do more than preserve artifacts. They provoke an understanding of life unique to each occupant, suggesting a world that embraces continuity beyond mere mortal bounds. Here, you feel the pulse of connection, a thread, linking the shadow stories of ancestors to the living memory of their descendants. This debate over grave goods, simmering quietly throughout Viking history, raises questions that may never fully find their answers. Yet, therein lies an understated beauty, an ongoing conversation, bridging time's divide, a dialogue enriching both heritage and identity in cycles as enduring as the axed stones surrounding these silent places. By the time you reluctantly turn from the solemn hush of these historic lands, the chorus of questions and interpretations that resonate deepen your connection to the world of the Norse. This culture of grave goods unravels as a compassionate understanding of life's temporality, a tapestry etched in stone, fluid as the tides themselves. And as you step away from the sacred grounds, your thoughts align with the vibrant lives immortalized in these places of rest, offering a poignant reminder of how life, however fleeting, is immortalized in ritual, memory, and story. It's a texture enriching your path, sewn seamlessly into the heart of a shared Viking narrative that you're only beginning to understand. A narrative spanning realms of both the seen and unseen, from life on earth to the stars mapped beyond the sky. As the tapestry of burial rites weaves itself into the rich fabric of Viking life, your focus shifts once more to the legends that shape the collective consciousness. The saga of Skjalmo unfurls before you, a mesmerizing tale whose threads intertwine history and myth, offering insights not only into the times, but into the complexities of interpretation itself. Imagine the warm glow of a fire illuminating a gathering of attentive faces. The skalds, revered keepers of memory, spin their narratives with an artistry that transforms each word into a living image. Skjalmo's story begins to take shape, a tapestry of bravery, cunning, and despair, its threads spun from the colorful hues of triumphs and tragedies. As Skjalmo emerges from the skald's vivid tapestry, she's no mere character of myth. Her journey navigates treacherous waters, both literal and metaphorical, embodying a spirit that transcends the bounds of ordinary human experience. With the rise and fall of her fortune, listeners are swept up into battles fought as much with wit and charm as with swords and shields. Historians still argue over whether Skjalmo was a real figure, an amalgamation of several historic personalities, or entirely a figment of Norse storytelling. But as her tale unfolds, it becomes apparent that the truth lies less in historical fact than in the lessons embedded within her exploits, a testament to the storytelling artistry of the Viking Age, where allegory and reality dance intricately in a haze of heroism. Skjalmo's story, much like the sea upon which she sails, plays with perception and reality. Her wild adventures take her from humble beginnings through encounters with gods and giants, hinting at universal themes of ambition and courage against all odds. Her character straddles the line between legend and reality, serving both as an idol for emulation and a cautionary tale of hubris and redemption. As you listen to the skald's rendering, the tale takes you on a voyage of highs and lows, granting glimpses of mighty fjords and ancient forests, where the very earth seems alive with intention and myth. Skjalmo's narrative speaks to the call of the unknown her voyage, a tapestry woven equally of ambition and the treacherous sea. Through the tale's progression, you uncover quirky facets, perhaps less celebrated in grand renditions. Some say that Skjalmo was known for her wry humor, using wordplay to best her adversaries, suggesting that victory in the Viking world was not solely dependent upon bright blades, but on sharper wits. Amidst the tale's mix of wonder and whimsical details exist vast potentialities, refracted like prisms of lighter cycle, from which new meanings and interpretations spring forth with each retelling. Skjalmo's exploits attest to this world of possibility, her deeds filled with the kind of paradox that makes history both vexing and beautiful. The night deepens, and shadows stretch long across the sacred grounds, the skald's voice waning as the fire settles into embers. In the tale's silence, what lingers aren't definitive answers, but the resonance of ongoing exploration, a mosaic, expanding by each interpretation and perception upon which it turns. In contemplating Skjalmo's saga, you become character and witness, seeking partnership with the echoes that bend time's immeasurable breadth while demanding reflection. Her tale reminds all who listen that history doesn't merely speak to the past, but breathes with creativity that extends into the hearts and minds of every generation. The saga, then, serves as more than mere entertainment. It is an invitation to wrestle with the spectrum of human nature, fear, resolve, love, betrayal, all the elements that weave human continuity and lineage. A saga that enriches traditions with its depth, from the hesitant yet hopeful first journey to the eventual reconciliation with one's fate. As night yields to dawn's first light and fires dim in anticipation, Skjalmo still wanders through your thoughts, forever imprinted upon this ceaseless horizon of myth, a landscape where memory is free to roam, carrying pervasive stories gliding over lands both charted and unknown. In these tales, in this ever-evolving Viking tapestry, Skjalmo and her ilk come alive so long as ancient voices are perfectly heard and imbued with fresh air. Within this dynamic narrative, you find yourself part of an interwoven lineage, connecting common-uncommon history, soaring high atop fabled longships into endless storytelling currents. The dawn heralds a new day, soft light filtering through the mist like echoes of ancient whispers. Within this shifting tapestry of time and culture, religious tensions ripple, marking the Viking Age as a battleground of belief, where old traditions confront new influences with a fervor as passionate as any clash of swords. Picture yourself amidst this profound transformation. The air around the settlement is pregnant with change, charged with the collision of faiths, as the encroaching tide of Christianity begins to lap against the shores of the established Norse beliefs. The aroma of burning incense mixes with the scent of green pine, weaving a curious narrative of competing spiritualities. In this pivotal era, you find yourselves caught between worlds, where the gods of your forebears Odin, Thor, Freya, and their kin stand in stark contrast to the crucifix-bearing messiahs wielding the promise of salvation. The old gods are not merely deities but pillars of the very cosmos, woven intricately into the mortal fabric of everyday life. The clash is far more than theological. It's a confrontation of identities, of worldviews that shape how life, death, and the ethereal are perceived. At life's core, the sagas hold strength, their pages breathing life into ancient rituals. Sacrifices to appease temperamental deities take tangible forms, from crops and animals to metals crafted in thunder's accord, preserving the fragile balance between humanity and the divine. You find solace in these annual feasts and celebrations that reaffirm connections to an interconnected realm vibrantly alive in both stone and story. Yet, As monks and missionaries weave their way into these communities, new narratives unfurl. Promising an afterlife free from the tumultuous whims of erratic gods, the Christian doctrine both intrigues and unsettles the Viking people. It whispers of redemption, eternal fields, and peace, a siren call to those weary from endless cycles of survival. And so, you are thrust into this crucible of transformation, where ideas meld and diverge in equal measure. Historians still argue over whether this conversion was swift, violent, or a gradual evolution, each narrative bearing the weight of historical truth woven with cultural bias. This ongoing debate finds fertile ground in the Viking world, where traces of hidden faiths linger in both darkened corners and illuminated manuscripts. Amidst the tension, some adopt the Christian faith readily, drawn to its promise of salvation or swayed by political strategy. Its burgeoning influence extends across chieftains, eager to unite disparate tribes under a single banner. Others resolutely cling to their ancestral gods, their refusal a badge of honor and defiance. You find yourself reflecting on a quirky interpretation, an effigy of Thor's hammer decorated with the symbol of the cross. This artifact, found centuries later by inquisitive archaeologists, suggests a syncretic merging even within this storm of ideologies, a partnership of faiths tying familiarity to promise. A small, subtle act of rebellion or unity under dual gods within an evolving spiritual universe. Through whispers of conversion, the makings of churches and monasteries reveal themselves as sacred structures rising from the earth, their forms contrasted against time-weathered longhouses and stave church silhouettes. Even amidst trials scarred into history's stories, echoes bear the gentler strains of Benedictine chanting, a presence softened but inescapable. Beyond these physical constructs, religious tension permeates the social fabric, the sustenance of conflict, breathed out in shared tales and whispered arguments, wrapping around minds, grappling with moral polarities charged with high stakes. Debates over personal salvation, community allegiance, and a sense of existential purpose grow like tendrils from the fertile cultural loam. And so, you find yourself perched at the cusp of spiritual evolution, collective soul standing at the crossroads, each path softened by myth and promise. Here, amid theological transformations, old gods and new spirits jostle for attention, each seeking to guide the hand upon the ship's tiller. Within this budding world of conflicting faiths, a shared narrative begins to emerge. The stories, entwined with both Norse and Christian elements, shape an ever-changing identity, one that preserves myths and traditions while welcoming the nuanced hues of a broader cultural spectrum. Viking souls now sail through this ocean of faith, ever navigating the balance between the old ways' steadfast shorelines and the beckoning horizon of new possibilities. As you look across this horizon, you recognize the communion of beliefs and the solidarity of thought, a legacy, as ethereal as dawn's first blush, but as profound as the deep echo of runes etched into the stones of this timeless tapestry. It beckons to those who journey on waters, both calm and tumultuous, catching faith's shifting currents beneath sails wide enough to encompass the expanding world. The echoes of religious transformation recede into the fabric of daily life, and you find yourself returning to the heart of Viking existence, a world defined by the ebb and flow of clan life. Here, within this complex network of kinship and alliance, the essence of community unfolds amidst a vibrant tapestry of loyalty, tradition, and, occasionally, strife. Imagine the heartbeat of the clan reverberating through every aspect of your life. The settlement bustles with daily activity, where interconnectedness is both a necessity and a guiding principle. The scent of tilled earth and the musky aroma of livestock permeate the air, mingling with the laughter and shouts of children weaving their way through the village paths. At the core of this societal structure is the longhouse, the communal heart beating with warmth and life. It's an expansive space shared by the family and extended clans, where every member contributes to the well-being of the group. Here, daily routines blend seamlessly into shared responsibilities, where the collective is prioritized over individual desires. The longhouse becomes a microcosm of Viking society itself, fevery log, and beam, an emblem of solidarity forged through cooperation. The cyclical nature of Viking life finds expression in these familial bonds. Seasons change, and toil turns from sowing to harvest, punctuated by festivals and feasts that celebrate both the gods and the heart of humanity. The shared bounty of the yield is both literal and symbolic, as meals become communal rituals where stories are passed down, fortifying identity and tradition inside generations. At times, the unity of clan life expands beyond kinship, tethering clans together in powerful alliances that shape the broader societal landscape. As you navigate these relationships, you recognize the balance of power, the careful negotiation of marriage and treaty that extends the clan's influence while tightening the bonds of mutual protection and solidarity. Yet, these relationships are not without challenges. The same kinsmen who stand beside you in times of need or celebration can become adversaries when disputes arise. Such conflicts, often rooted in matters of honor, wealth, or land, are not merely private affairs but ripples that affect the entire community. The thing, the assembly where justice is meted out, becomes a crucial mechanism for maintaining harmony amidst these tensions, a place where grievances are aired and resolutions sought. Historians still debate the depth and influence women wielded within these familial structures. Was their power derived solely from their familial connections, or did it also reside in their roles as arbiters and managers, negotiating complex social landscapes with subtle wisdom? The debate highlights the nuanced interplay of power and tradition that shapes every corner of clan life. Interrupting the serious flow of these dynamics is the occasional humorous tale of clan squabbles turned absurder. Delightful reminder that sometimes the deepest rifts are mended with laughter and the humility of recognizing our shared human frailties. There's a story about a feud over a prized goat, which ended not in revenge but in a grand festival celebrating the mischievous creature, aptly tying the knot of peace with humor. As these interpersonal relationships unfold, clan life reveals itself as an intricate dance, where every step is both guided by tradition and improvised by necessity. The clan fosters a sense of belonging, of identity inextricably tied to the land and the stories that have shaped it over centuries. It provides a haven against the unpredictability of the outside world, a reminder that strength lies not just in the sword, but in the hands that clasp yours beside shared fires. Standing amidst this vibrant network of relationships, you feel the pulsing rhythm of a community both resilient and dynamic. It's a melody of collaboration, balance, and kinship own, that binds not just living souls, but their spirits and dreams, reaching across time to weave a living heritage. And as day settles into night, and the glow of sunset yields to the starry blanket above, you find solace and identity in this perpetual dance, holding tight to the infinite unseen threads that tie the clans, and through them, the entire Viking world together. In this tapestry of lineage, every moment sings with an ancient resonance, reminding you not just of who you are, but of the foundation laid by those who walked similar paths. Clan life is a testament to the enduring legacy of ancestral bonds, an affirmation that within the embrace of community lies a power that can withstand and transcend the challenges of time and tide. The rhythm of clan life flows seamlessly into the seasonal cycles, where the blessings and burdens of feast and famine shape the Viking experience. It's a dynamic interplay between prosperity and scarcity, where the shifting fortunes of the land dictate the tempo of survival, celebration, and resilience. Picture yourself in the midst of harvest, a season of abundance that transforms the settlement into a bustling hive of activity. The golden fields stretch as far as the eye can see, the scent of ripe grain mingling with the crisp air, a sensory celebration of nature's generosity. Laughter and shouts of encouragement carry on the breeze as clans work side by side, gathering the crops that will sustain them through the long months ahead. It's a time of communal effort, where the fruits of labor appear as nourishment and support, in stark contrast to the hardships they stave off. Harvest festivals punctuate these moments of plenitude, where gratitude flows as freely as the mead from drinking horns. The air is thick with the aroma of roasting meats and fresh breads, an opulent aroma that speaks of both bounty and hope. Feasts are not mere indulgences, but vital acts of sharing rites that honor the gods, ancestors, and the power of community. In these times, stories come alive around the fire, tales spun with threads of myth and memory. Skalds recount sagas of past feasts, where gods and heroes themselves revel alongside mortalsa time, when the divine and the earthly meet over shared tables. It's a reminder that these gatherings are not just about sustenance but connectioner, weaving of bonds, and the reaffirmation of identity through shared experiences. Yet, as the wheel of the year turns, the shadow of scarcity begins to inch closer. With the feasting seasons fading into distant echoes, winter's chill tightens its grip on the land. The world shifts, and the community braces for the austerity that famine might bring. Provisions are rationed carefully, dried fish and preserved meats, counted as treasures each morsel, a reminder of the hardship that knits endurance with necessity. The hearth becomes the heart of winter survival, where the warmth of flame offers solace amidst the biting cold, and stones heated by fire grasp what scant respite they can against the creeping cold. Here, storytelling takes on a new importance. The quiet glow of the fire casting flickering shadows that dance in time with the narrative's shared keeping spirits, buoyant even as supplies dwindle. Yet, within the somber cadence of famine, lies the humorous resilience unique to Viking life. A quirky tale emerges of a time when the scarcity of grain led to a new kind of feaster festival, where the community celebrated the creation of dishes crafted from humble turnips. A testament to resourcefulness that transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. Historians still discuss how these cycles of feast and famine shaped the social and economic structures of Viking society. Were they agents of equalization, or did they reinforce existing hierarchies? This question reverberates through the ages, paralleled by stories of how these cycles fostered both innovation and cohesion, binding communities together to conquer the exigencies of the changing seasons. In the throes of winter, with famine's shadow at its longest, you take solace in the knowledge that spring's promise will inevitably renew the land. The cyclical nature of life becomes a familiar drumbeat, underscored by the resilience born from necessity, the transformative power of time's hand churning wheel after wheel of feast and famine upon historic landscape. And as you navigate these cycles, it becomes clear that community and shared strength anchor this world. The Viking spirit thrives not just in acts of valor, but in the everyday heroism found within the embrace of family, the hearth's warmth, and the collective well-being that transcends both bounty and want. These cycles, like the tales that chronicle them, endure across generations, a steadfast force shaping the Viking saga. Each rotation of harvest and hardship writes a chapter in a continuing story that enriches the legacy of those who came before, offering lessons in perseverance, unity, and the indomitable will of a community always striving to balance the scales of feast and famine. Through it all, you find that life is forged as much by scarcity's lean hand as by the generous overflow of plenty, a testament to survival strategies threaded through the Viking narrative. Returning to the day-to-day challenges of maintaining semblance amidst seasonal shifts, the realities of living with Viking hygiene emerge a stark juxtaposition between the romanticized world of the Norse and the practical demands of the era. Imagine yourself navigating a landscape where the concepts of cleanliness and health are as fluid and unpredictable as the fjords themselves. Picture the everyday life of a Viking settlement, where the scent of sea salt mingles with the earthy aroma of livestock that roam freely through the villages. The air buzzes with the activities of both rugged warriors and nimble-fingered craftspeople, all sharing spaces that reflect the simplicity and necessity of the time. Here, the focus lies not on luxury but on functionality that caters to survival in a harsh climate. Without the convenience of modern facilities, cleanliness takes on a starkly different form. The longhouse, heart of familial life, is both haven and hub, where cooking, sleeping, and working coexist in a dance of necessity. Its well-worn floors bear testament to the realities of communal living, where hearth fires gift warmth, but also impart soot that clings persistently to wooden beams and woolen cloaks. Water, a precious resource, must be fetched from nearby streams or wells, a task as monumental as it is essential. Bathing is a luxury rather than a routine, reserved for special occasions or driven by necessity. The chill of the water contrasts sharply with the ambient warmth of daylight, each plunge into the icy depths both an act of ablution and resilience. In the absence of soap, Crushed eggshells and volcanic ash serve as rudimentary abrasives, scrubbing the detritus of daily life from skin and fabric alike. Despite these challenges, there exists a quirky tidbit hidden within this world. The Vikings, known for their sharpness of dress and presentation, delve into personal grooming with a fervor that belies their rugged environment. Combs crafted from bones and antlers accompany every warrior, an emblem of pride that ensures hair remains untangled and presentable, even under the confines of a battle helmet. Historians still argue about the extent to which Vikings maintained personal hygiene, casting shadows upon the tales of cleanliness or lack thereof. Were their practices refined by the standards of their time? Or do they simply appear crude through modern lenses? What emerges is a complex portrait of a culture that balances the demands of survival with the basic human desire to present oneself with dignity. You find humor threading through this narrative, as stories of house mice stealing away scented herbs intended to mask unsavory odors ripple through gatherings. It's a gentle reminder that even within the seriousness of survival, the unpredictability of life crafts moments of levity. Amid the struggle for cleanliness, you recognize the ingenuity applied to combat the spread of disease. The Norse employed herbal remedies and plant-based creations, bringing nature itself into service to ease ailments and ensure vitality. These homemade concoctions, though simple, reflect an in-depth knowledge of the land's offerings and enduring testament to the resilience found in Viking adaptability. As you immerse yourself in the realities of Viking hygiene, it's clear that their approach to cleanliness is less about indulgence and more about necessity and adaptive strategy rather than an elaborate process. Through each scrape of the comb and each gust of the wind sweeping over a riverside bath, you glimpse the vibrant survival spirit standing strong in this precarious world. In understanding the nuances of hygiene in the Viking era, you appreciate the striking contrast between essence and form, the powerful reminder that despite the absence of modern luxuries, the Vikings possessed an innate awareness of the harmonious balance between nature and humanity. This dynamic interplay serves as both a reflection and roadmap of adaptability within a challenging world, weaving a legacy of perseverance that endures beyond time's reach. Through these habits, both humble and innovative, the Viking narrative continues its vibrant spooling, threads of hygiene and survival intertwined with the larger tapestry of their myth and memory, charting not just patterns of history but the unyielding resilience etched in each dusky Scandinavian corner. As the tapestry of Viking life continues to unfold, the past reaches out with whispered secrets, drawing you toward the riches of archaeological discoveries that illuminate the myths and realities of the Norse world. Set against the backdrop of history, these intriguing finds offer glimpses into the everyday lives, beliefs, and aspirations of the Viking people, painting a vivid picture of what once was. Imagine standing in a landscape that merges the old with the new, where skilled hands toil to unearth remnants buried deep within Scandinavian soil. Each artifact tells its own tale, knitting the past with the present and endeavor as meticulous as it is awe-inspiring, revealing the whispers of generations long gone. The air is alive with anticipation as shovels bite into the earth. Nearby streams carry the scent of fresh loam and a hint of the ocean, mingling with the sound of birds and the rustle of wind through grasses, which seems to ward off the encroaching modern world. In this space, time appears to bend and twist, crafting a bridge between eras that encourages reflection and wonder. One by one, treasures emerge from their earthly slumber, each piece a tangible fragment of history destined to rewrite both understanding and imagination. You find yourself marveling at a painstakingly crafted brooch, its intricate patterns reflecting a mastery of design and metalwork, often unduly overlooked. Once shimmering in candlelight at feast tables, or clasping the cloaks of those traveling icy fjords, its presence evokes a tactile connection with daily life. Nearby, an elaborately decorated comb bespeaks personal grooming's vital role, revealing a people whose appreciation for aesthetics defied their rugged environment. Here, you ponder the humorous anecdote of archaeologists unearthing a clumsily fashioned toothbrush, an object more comical than useful, highlighting humanity's enduring fascination with rhythm and refinement. Stories unfold from carved runestones, their somber faces endowed with inscriptions that range from the declarative to the poetic. They bear more than mere names, instead, rendering accounts of epic journeys, mighty deeds, and heart-rending grief, as Viking travelers etched themselves into both myth and legacy. Radiating mystery and power, they remind you of both life's ephemerality and the permanence of names etched in stone. Historians continue to debate whether certain artifacts reflect innovation and active trade with distant lands or native itinerations. The discovery of silk and spices in modest longhouses supports theories of vibrant international marketplaces and acculturation as craft mingles with the tried and true. These findings spark endless fascination and skepticism, weaving science with conjecture as new layers of the past unleash their treasures. For every artifact explicated with clinical precision, there exists conversely the delight of unexpected curiosity. A ceremonial ship burial here, a mock battle relic, there redefining the boundaries of understanding. These idiosyncratic treasures offer playful interpretations and fill gaps in the Viking tale while emphasizing the intricate blend of ceremony, function, and whim woven unfailingly into their existence. As you explore the archaeological tapestry, an overwhelming sense of connection emerges. These artifacts weave a bridge across centuries, tethering you to stories once spun amidst the crackling of a communal fire or shared beneath the shadows of forested halls. They beckon reflection upon what has been preserved and embraced within their form. The discoveries enrich the global narrative, deepening the awareness of a rich culture known not just for its raids and voyages, but for its achievements in art, adaptability, and storytelling. They render palpable the heartbeat of a society oscillating between the commonplace and divine, between the world of spirits and men, where history and legend entwine within dusty earth. Emerging now from the historical depths, each archaeological gem propels you forward as you embark upon the continuing journey, a reverie shaped by temporal remnants, and one that ignites the imagination to decipher truth from myth, with adventure seen through the world-shaping lens of past and present. With each discovery, you find yourself celebrating humanity's shared fascination with origins, profound kinship lasting longer than even the unforgiving shadows of time themselves. The Vikings' legacy, an enduring chorus, lives wending paths from ancient soil into the hearts of every seeker, wielder, and dreamer, who leads onward, ever entwined with the vibrant echoes of history's resonant call. The journey through Viking history and culture leads you to reflect upon the legacy of these formidable people, a narrative woven through time that echoes in the very DNA of the world around us. It is a legacy not confined to raiders' tales, but encompassing a rich tapestry of exploration, trade, art, and myth, a multifaceted story that transcends the icy fjords of Scandinavia and extends into the realms of imagination and reality. As you stand upon the shores where ancient Vikings once embarked on their legendary voyages, the sea before you stretches infinitely, its waves whispering secrets of ages. It is a symphony of stories, with each crest bearing the laughter of feasts, the cries of battles past, and the softer, murmured prayers to gods both feared and revered. The horizon blurs with the legacy they've etched into the world, a testament to their influence and enduring spirit. The Vikings' mark is undeniable, a blend of fierce independence and interconnected culture that pulsates through time. Their influence is felt in the genetic legacy scattered across continents, in the languages spoken, and the names of days and places that silently nod to ancient Norse deities. You begin to trace the lineage of innovation, from longship engineering that set the standard for centuries, to the runes that echo in modern alphabets. Historians still debate the full extent of the Norse impact, the interplay of diplomacy versus conquest, isolation and adaptation. Yet here on these shores, you sense the omnipresence of a legacy ingrained in the ebb and flow of civilization itself, a legacy that speaks of resilience, adaptability, and a life lived boldly. You can't help but smile at the quirky tales and traditions left behind. From the mischievous Loki complexes that shape modern narratives, to the culinary journeys inspired by the meager yet resilient Viking diet, the cultural imprints they left are as diverse as they are amusing. Around you, the shadows lengthen as twilight embraces the landscape, merging dreams with memory. You ponder the continued fascination with the Viking Epican era, that defies neat categorization, where myth and history intertwine in a dynamic expression of human endeavor. Their epic sagas, crafted with care, navigate the intricate mosaic of belief, law, social hierarchy, and exploration, etching vitality into the annals of time. And now, as stories of Scialmo or the mysteries of burial grounds resonate in your imagination, you appreciate how tangible artifacts and organic tales embody a larger-than-life reality. This legacy, both vast and intimate, challenges you to seize your own narrative, inspired by a past that brims with creativity and transformation. In the fading light, you take a deep breath of the salty air, your senses fully alive to the world sprung from Viking roots. The expansive sky, once a terrifying unknown, now serves as canvas for new dreams. It is a reminder that each moment on these journeys is ephemeral, a brief, beautiful brushstroke in the fluid mosaic of history. The story of the Viking era, tale not limited by time, but continuously enriched by its participants, remains vital in today's reflection of courage, resilience, and collective identity. As we unlock its mysteries, we find echoes of what it conjured within us all: the spirit to explore, to thrive against the elements, and dance on the edges of myth and fate. As the imagery of our journey softens like waves retreating from the shore, let the cadence of the past lull you into the comfort of time's embrace. Know that stories woven here continue to shape your perceptions, your dreams, and your reality, a glorious testament to the vibrant legacy of beings who braved the impossible, reminding you that in every heart lies potential untamed. Sweet dreams.